it's hard to know where to start with you because you've been around in this business for so long. But I wondered if you could just talk a little bit about digital marketing because it's a phrase that we hear a lot about, and I always wonder if there's people making money off digital marketing that don't know what they're doing, and I always wonder if digital marketing is the Levi Strauss of the 1849 gold rush. You know what I mean? As if it's like those are the guys making the money while all the big corporates are looking for the gold and don't know what's going on. So I at least wanted to get your opinion on that before we get into everything else that you do.
Sure. Well, digital marketing comes in different forms. And, if you look at what I think is the coolest and most effective, mostly it's about whenever brands are able to have a dialogue with consumers and, they are engaging. And engagement is really the evolution of digital marketing and something that you just couldn't really do before. It was always mass media broadcast or something like that. And with engagement, it's about stories, it's about people. So that's the coolest part of what digital marketing is today, and it's not that different to PR and talk shows and stuff like that, but just a lot of interaction. People can talk back, people can get involved. So that's the coolest thing that's going on in digital marketing now. And then with that, what I find is a lot of times corporations are, we got to get us some of that. Let's hire somebody to do that. And some of that you can't outsource. You got to be authentic. You got to be involved. But that's totally changing the structure of marketing and the consumer relationship with the brand as well. Because then the next step from there is it becomes commerce. And it used to be that there was a kind of a cascade from the brand to maybe a distributor to maybe a wholesaler to shop manager to buyer, and now it's straight shot, right? The other kind of new thing in digital marketing is called native, where the line between content and commerce starts getting pretty kind of blurred, but in a good way. So the old school way to look at that is fashion magazines. The ads are part of the thing you're buying the magazine for, and it's wow, that's pretty cool. And in the same way, an article might be talking about travel or something like that, and it just becomes really easy to get off there and catch a video on the place you're looking at or something. So I think those are the cool areas of digital marketing now. And then there's where most of the money is, which isn't there yet. Those are kind of more on the edge. And where most of the money is, people making the money are mostly Mountain View. It's Google, right?
Okay.
And
Google ads, search ads, that kind of thing.
Search ads.
Okay.
So, when you've got somebody with intent, they've typed in, rental car, Biarritz. You've already solved half your problem. You're not broadcasting. You're really nailing that. And so they really got that well. And agencies and individuals who can help do that marketing may be more qualified or less qualified than you might think. But Google just does a pretty good job of getting what's called direct response. And, it's hard to beat that. But most of that flow through, because there's been a lot of competition, because Google does make it easy, the margins have definitely gotten a lot tighter for those agencies. You got to be doing more interesting stuff like retargeting through display ads. You probably clicked on something.
We've all been
retargeted.
retargeted.
And then that stuff stalked you for weeks. Across every website you go to, there it is again. No, I already bought it. Stop. But the reason that people do that with the display ads and retargeting with companies like Strzok and Criteo, however you want to say it, is it works.
It's like when you see that you have to see something like 7 or 9 times. Isn't it
like 10 touch points or something before you buy it, or I don't know. Is that accurate?
Well, the touch
these days?
points,
or is that changed now because it's digital?
Yeah, it hasn't changed, and the touch points, when you talk about it that way, it could be I read an article about this new camera type, and then I saw it in a display ad, and then I saw it in a blog, and then my friend mentioned it, and then I bought it, right? So that's kind of the touch point kind of approach.
Right.
But the other way you can shortcut that is that I went and browsed it, and now it's following me. I can't get rid of it. it's like a zombie.
And it's on my Facebook, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Do you miss that whole side of digital marketing, or did you kind of run its course with what you did, and you want to now look at other things that you want to do?
I love it, and the reasons I love it are that it keeps evolving, and the other reason is that it's one of those things that here in London, in Silicon Roundabout, we can wave the flag. Actually, it is some of the most advanced tech in the world is right here in London, which is pretty cool. Part of that is because the UK has some of the most advanced adoption of e-commerce. That it's the highest e-commerce expenditure per capita in the world.
Is it?
Yeah, and by no degree of accident, it's also the highest amount of digital marketing spend per capita.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a good place.
How far ahead is it? Do you know this? Like just roughly?
I haven't looked at it in a couple of years, but it was over Europe, crazy higher, like 2x.
Okay.
Although Germany and stuff are starting to move ahead.
Yeah.
But 2 years ago it was 2x.
Sure.
Over the U.S. maybe it's 10-15%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that because the UK consumer is more wealthy as well, has more money to spend, or they just get targeted and also spend more online?
Because of the awesome infrastructure, BT. No,
maybe not.
No, the real reason is because it's, in my opinion, and there are lots of reasons why this could be, but it's a big enough country and population, but it's small enough in terms of delivery. You can get stuff pretty quick. And then part of it is that as much as BT can be a pain and things like that, it's pretty wired country. Still slower than it ought to be and stuff like that, but not bad. And the third reason is that Google did an experiment here where they really subsidized agencies. And if you look at the U.S., brands tend to run their own digital marketing more than they do in the UK. And the agencies are the pros, and they just do a really good job of it.
What we found is that people who we connect with, guess what? They somehow are more determined, they're more committed. They go the extra mile to find their way into the. So Fernando from Higher Life, every gig I went to was at the back of the room waving at me. I was thinking, how did that guy do that? I have no idea how he did it. And so we actually really embrace and encourage that. It's really easy. We're very accessible, and the amazing thing is Twitter.